If you're wondering what do I need to start a business, you've come to the right spot. I'll tell you the 4 key things you have to do. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so I started my first of 16 companies when I was 19. Built them, bought them, sold them, wrecked a couple. I've helped hundreds and hundreds around the world build and grow and scale their businesses. And the 4 key things you need to do and do really, really well to start a business are these. And if you're interested, you're welcome to go. We've got a full course on this at aspiringsolopreneur.com. We've got a book, best-selling book on it as well. But the first thing you need to do if you're thinking, yeah, I want to start a business, is to define what does success look like on a holistic level for you for that business. Why this is important is you need to have a clear vision of where you want to go. If you don't, you have no idea where you're going to get. But if you can have a crystal clear vision of what amazing looks like, that's going to help you. And the challenge is most people start businesses, they start a business first, and then they try and get their life to fit around it. And if the business gets crazy, well, then too bad, life ends up taking a back seat. I would much prefer and encourage you to think about what does amazing look like for my life on a holistic level, and then build the business that's going to empower you to have that life. Think about it that way. It's a different way of looking at it, but really start with a clear vision of where you want to go. And if you're wondering, geez, I'm not sure how that works or where to fit, again, we discuss that in the book. Now, the second thing is once you started to define what does a holistic success look like for your business, and this is your time, your talent, your treasure, everything, your lifestyle, relationships, health, whole 9 yards. Once you have that, then you're going to want to take your business or your service, your product or your service, and start to float it and do a market assessment and say, this is what I'm considering. Now remember, you haven't invested 1 penny yet. All you've done is you've started to invest the time and energy in defining who you are and where you want to go. It has never been easier or safer to start a business. And this way and if it doesn't work out the first shot, don't worry about it. I promise, there'll be 100 more opportunities that start coming down the road. Once you start thinking this way, things change. But when you have that, I like this idea. Okay, great. Take that idea, just the concept, and start to do a market assessment. And we talk about the specific ways to do that in the book and in the course. And there's others on this video. We've got a ton of videos on this as well. But how can you go out and start trying to solve the product or service issue that you have, that you're offering as if you were your own customer? You start doing that market assessment, and then you start seeing how much does it cost, how are people solving this currently, and you can start to say, well, maybe I could do this differently, or maybe I could do it in this way. But you need to do a full, healthy market assessment to define this is where I want to go, or this is what I believe my product or service can be, and understand what are the economics around that. So the first step is to define what success looks like, start with the end in mind. Second, do an assessment of the market and how your product or service fits in it with what the possible economics around that could be. Then third, dive in to figuring out what is the structure and the expenses associated with creating this business. And for this, people are like, well, dude, how do I do that? It's like, well, there's a ton of videos on this channel. We've got the course. But I specifically teach people how to build a board of advisors for free of amazing experts that can help you figure this out. Now, a great board of advisors for a startup is going to be a small business accountant, a small business attorney, a small business banker, small business insurance agent, and maybe a small business marketing person. These people can really help become your board of advisors to help you start to figure out what is the ideal structure, what are the expenses that I need to be aware of, what are the things that are out there, because there will be expenses, I promise, that you're not aware of. And how much do I have to pay for taxes? What kind of insurance do I need? Do I need special licensing? What are those pieces? But these people have already done it. If you find an accountant who's already working with somebody who does something similar, great. That person is going to have so much of a better insights on what to do and how to build that. And when you start to have that structure, well, now you're really going to be able to build the right economics around that and say, woo, okay, wow, I thought I could get away with charging $60 an hour, but I'm going to have to pay $40 an hour on all these expenses, so really I need to pay $75. Okay, fair enough. You're starting to understand what the pieces look like that allow you to start saying, is this going to be viable? And again, you haven't spent any money on it. And then lastly is you really need to build a great plan on, okay, I've decided this is a no-brainer. I would be a fool not to dive in and do this business. I'm excited. This is going to be an amazing lifestyle that I have. The market is craving it. I have a great board of advisors that's helped me figure out the right structure, and I know the economics are solid. Wonderful. Then the last step is making sure that you're ready to dive in and you have a plan that you're going to be ruthless but compassionate about being executing, because the buck stops with you. Whether you're successful or whether you fail is going to fall on your shoulders. You got to own that. You can't blame the market. You can't blame a whole bunch of other people. It really comes down to you. But when you do that, when you build that plan, when you have that execution, and again, we talk about this in the course, it has never, ever been easier or safer to very, very, very affordably safely transition into running your own business. So ideally, there's some value there. Woohoo, I hope. If you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out at aspiringsolopreneur.com. We'd love to have you join a course. If you have any questions, keep smiling.